Veterinarian, a storyteller, historian, a chauffeur, psychologist, Darth Vader, social planner, abducted double dragon 2, and a bank. And that's only part of the job. Now, because when I grew up with these short Germans, I never was able to say anything in my house. I never had a point of view, so I made sure that my children are able to talk back. You pay a price. My children have chores. All the children should have a chore. They had, animals. My daughter had a bunny named Mister. She had to feed the bunny. Now, we all congregate in our bathroom in the morning. I don't know why, but that's where we all congregate. I'm shaving, my wife is shaving, different parts. So my daughter walked in. I said, Zoe, have you fed your bunny yet? She looked at my wife and she said, why did you marry him? I can't listen to his voice anymore. I said, well, I'm very sorry you feel that way. We still have to feed the bunny. He's not going to open his cage, go down and make French toast by himself, Zoe. So we're walking down the hallway to her bunny. I said, Zoe, when you say things like that, it hurts my feelings. She said, well, don't listen to me. I'm just a kid. I don't know what I'm saying. Max walks in. He said, I can't go to school today. I said, should we call the doctor? Should we take your temperature? How are you? He said, no. But it's the beginning of the flu season, and you never know when it can strike. Get out of here. I don't know why we treat our children in this country with such disrespect, but we do. Not long ago, the government tried to make ketchup as part of the vegetable group in a children's lunch. That's forward thinking. And now they want to cut out the breakfast program, which is one of the only meals that a child might have during the day. Now, how can a child grow strong? How can our flowers of tomorrow flower? How can they open if they are not nourished, if they can't concentrate, if they can't learn? Children always remember who shows them kindness. We want everything as instant as our fast food hamburger in this country. Our mindless need for everything that is new, it seems to me, is incompatible with the harmony of living. Our short-term need for gratification so outweighs our long-term interest in the future. Now, without being considerate toward ourselves and one another, we pass on a chaos to our children that translates into violent and destructive behavior. And that considerate behavior can only start when we are considerate first to ourselves. Until then, the destructive behavior destroys the children, our future, and also our community. And that violence has shaped our children's communication. One child wants another child's Nikes, instant communication, boom, a bullet. Not long ago I read in the LA Times, a man didn't like where he was sitting at a wedding. He shot the groom. Every day, 135,000 children in the greatest country in the world take a gun to school. 50,000 children alone, just kids, are killed every year by a gun. I spoke to a doctor who works in the ER in Boston, in Mass General. She said, you know what is shocking to her? That the kids come in and they are surprised that bullets actually hurt. They had no idea. We have to take our country back, it seems to me. This country, this community was built. Thanks. This community was built on the idea of people helping people clear the land and building each other's homes and birthing each other's babies. And now we're forced to put bars and gates and locks and walls in front of our homes to keep that very neighbor out. Our strength as a country, as a community, depends upon the kindness of strangers and not the fear of them. Somewhere in the last 30 years, the individual has become more important than the collective whole. The energy we put out is the energy we get back. I tell that to my children all the time. The energy you put out is the energy you will get back. If we concentrate our energy outside of ourselves, to our families, to our work, to our community, we will have a peace of mind. And when we have a peace of mind, then we can achieve peace on earth. Genius is only your initiative on fire. It seems to me that we take culture and push it aside, and we embrace technology. Now, technology is nice, but we have to replace technology at such a fast rate. You buy a computer, within 2 months, you have to replace it because it's not fast enough, it's not smart enough, it doesn't work right. But culture lasts forever. You know what I think? I think that the worst thing that ever happened to America is the quarterly report. Because profit, having to show a profit 4 times a year, and now all bets are off. They don't care. They show a profit any way they can, has replaced the population and the process of doing something, the joy of doing something. You don't care anymore about what you do. You just worry about being downsized all the time. What good has it done us as a population to have all these mega corporations buy each other up? It does nothing. It takes away from our quality of living, not just in that we don't have enough to spend, but that we don't take care of each other in the same way that we used to. You know, I used to be willing to give out all this advice. I used to say, know what you want without ambivalence, and you can have it. Brush your teeth with what you want, and you might get it. My wife cringes at the fact that I actually say that sentence. I used to say, assumptions are the termites of relationships. I wrote that. And what I've realized now is there's only one bit of advice that we really need. Listen to your instinct. Listen to your inner voice. You know what is right all the time, except we outthink ourselves. We have an initial thought and intuition, and then we think ourselves right out of it. Every time I do that, I'm hit in the face. Like by a 2x4, by how wrong I was not to listen to my instinct. You know what is right just by listening to your inner voice. Hi, nice to see you. You know, I think that we have to be a light in the world. Each one of us is an individual. An example of tolerance, of caring, of mutual respect. Not just when it's easy, but when it is difficult, when it is hard. Gandhi said, if we're going to reach any kind of peace on the earth, I mean, not only if you look around the earth, is there turmoil everywhere. I think Mother Nature is really angry. If we're going to reach any kind of peace on the earth, we have to start with the children first. And when we listen to ourselves, our communication is brilliant. When we listen to our instinct, communication can move mountains if we are open enough not only to listen to ourselves, but listen to one another. You know, when I was doing the show Happy Days, we were on stage 19 at Paramount. It was the same stage that Lucy used when she did her I Love Lucy. But when you're in there, you know, there are no windows, it's soundproof, the door is closed by chains so that no noise gets in. You don't know what you're doing. You don't know how you're doing. I said to Richie in an episode in the 7th year, I went, hey, look at this. You could get a library card for free. Anybody could get it. You could take books out and you could meet chicks there. Registration for library cards. Thank you. Registration for library cards in America went up 500% because my character said that question. I said that sentence. Isn't that unbelievable? All I said was, Richie, this is very cool. You get a library card. We went on to do a show, you know, when my wife had children, I was able to be in the room. I was a Lamaze coach, and I thought that this was so intense, so incredible. I thought if men were in the room throughout history when women were giving birth, there would be female signatures on the Magna Carta. what a miracle on earth was it to experience my children being born. And I thought it was so powerful that we did an episode where the Fonz was a Lamaze coach for Richie's wife, Lori, on the show. And the completely other end of the spectrum, talking about communication and about not knowing how you are making your point. I was the honorary chairman for a special arts festival in LA for kids with learning disability and mentally challenged and physically challenged. And so they came, and there was art, and there was theater, and there was music, and there was dance. And I'm walking through the crowd, and I'm hugging, and we're kissing, and a little girl behind me said, "Fonz." And her mother started to shake and started to cry, and I didn't know why. And when we calmed her mother down, she said, "You don't understand. My daughter is autistic. She just spoke her first words in 7 years." It's unbelievable. Unbelievable. The next year I went back and I was the honorary chairman again, and this time she added 100 words, the same little girl, 100 words to her vocabulary, and she asked me to hug her sister because I hugged her the year before. Unbelievable. You don't know how powerful each and every one of you really is. You don't know that because we keep that power hidden. We're afraid to let it go. You don't have to take care of everybody. You don't have to take care of the world. You have to take care of just one other person. You, everyone here, you've got so much power inside you if you just let it go. It's amazing. How do I know this? I know this because I'm standing here now, because I'm living it. When I was a young kid and my self-image was down around my ankles, I was afraid. I thought, oh my gosh, I'm not tall, I'm not good looking, I'll never have I'll go out with the girl I want to go out, I was stupid. All of that wasn't true. You're as tall as you are. We're all very smart. Everybody has got a song inside them to give the world. The lesson for me is that human energy is so powerful and so affecting, and it is as easy to be positive as it is to be negative. And you have to keep that going with a sense of humor. You've got to unlock your sense of humor. You know, my kids call me Mr. Stricty. I leave the house to come here to Birmingham, and they say, "Good, let's order Chinese and Italian." But you got to keep a sense of humor and tenacity. We human beings, we are in such a fragile body, skin and bones and blood, but we are tenacious, we are powerful, we are strong. You know, it reminds me of a community from Yemen. There was a famine, and there was a drought in Yemen. And you know, in Yemen, the Yemenites boast amazing ages. 120, 130, 140 years old. And I don't think it's just the yogurt. Well, there was an entire community of Yemenites were airlifted out, and they were taken to a new country right next door. And one of the Yemenites was walking down the street of his new city, and he thought, oh, I need insurance. And he goes into an insurance broker, and he says, I'd like to buy insurance. And the insurance broker says, how old are you? The man says, I'm 72. He said, I'm sorry, but we don't do that. We don't sell insurance. It's not our policy. He said, that's ridiculous. You sold an insurance policy to my father last week. He said, that's impossible. The man said, go back and check your records. The broker did. He went back. He said, yes, I did. I sold a policy to your father. He was 95. Okay, I'll tell you what. You come back next Tuesday for a physical. You pass the physical. I will send you an insurance policy. He said, I can't do that. I can't come back. My grandfather is getting married next Tuesday. He said, your grandfather is getting married. How old is he? It's 117. 117? Why is he getting married now? Because his parents keep pestering him. We have talked this morning about three general areas. My life, how it affects and interrelates with your life and the life of others. And I'd like to leave you with just three central themes. First, we have to be the most that we can be. Because if we don't, we only have one chance in life. We only have one go-round, and each person is a unique combination of irreplaceable qualities. Trust your instincts. You know what is right. And second, we have to make the most out of ourselves because it's the only way that we can give back to others. There are things to be done. There are needs to be met. There are hurts to be healed. And if we don't do our part, something important will remain undone forever. And third, give the most to those who have the most potential and yet are the most vulnerable. Children at the beginning of their life. We can be their voice before they ever speak their first word. We can take action for them before they ever take their first step. We must never forget who we are. We must never forget where we come from. Never forget to give back for all that we have gotten. And always remember that the future of this community, our country, the world, rests in very little hands. I thank you so much for listening. I thank you so much for inviting me.